لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فإن أصدق الكلام كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أوصي نفسي وأوصيكم بتقوى الله فقد قال الله عز وجل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. وقال عز وجل وإذا حييتم بتحية فحيوا بأحسن منها أو ردوها. وقال فإذا دخلتم بيوتا فسلموا على أنفسكم تحية من عند الله مباركة طيبة كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تفلحون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us guidance through the Quran and through sending Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his sunnah for every aspect of our lives. In difficult times, those of us with even a little bit of iman know that we have to return to Islam for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy to reach us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَٰئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the believing men and women are protectors for one another. They enjoin the good, they forbid the wrong. They establish salah, they give the zakah, and they obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Those are the ones who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy upon. Inna Allah azizun hakim. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most mighty and most wise. From the various prohibitions and commands of Islam, sometimes we may get overwhelmed. Where do I start? Especially when it comes to our relationships with one another. How can we be the protectors of one another that we should be? How can this ummah be more closely connected together? But there is one simple thing that we can do that is from the Sharia, that if we really perfect, it will have a knock-on effect on everything else in our lives and all the different aspects of the relationships we have with one another as believers. And that simple thing is as-salam, is the spreading of the greeting, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us that when we enter upon each other's houses that we should greet each other with the salam. In the ayah that was mentioned earlier, when you enter houses, greet with the salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains, Tahiyyatan min indillahi mubarakatan tayyibah. It is a greeting from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not a made-up greeting that human beings made for each other. It's a greeting from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is blessed, mubarakah. And tayyibah, it is pure. It has no evil meaning in it. In fact, the salam will be the greeting of the dwellers of Jannah. Tahiyyatuhum yawma yalqawnahu salam, tahiyyatuhum fiha salam. As it comes multiple places in the Quran. The angels will greet the believers in the akhirah with salam. قَالُوا طِبْتُمْ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ طِبْتُمْ فَادْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ. May peace be upon you. This greeting that we have is the greeting of al-akhirah for the ones who are successful. There's a special treasure from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are bestowed with in this world that nobody else has. And yet we're quick to cast it aside. It is from amongst the things that really define the core of our actions. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, في حديث عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله عنهما أن رجلا سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أي الإسلام خير؟ قال تطعم الطعام وتقرأ السلام. هذا حديث متفق عليه. حديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه لا تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا أفلا أدلكم على شيء إذا فعلتموه تحاببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. In the first hadith, Abdullah ibn Amr reported that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked which Islam is the best. And many of the Sahaba would come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with this question, as if asking, what should I focus on? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would tailor the answer at times to the questioner. But in it is wisdom for everybody. Which Islam is the best? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that among the branches of Islam, the best is تُطْعِمُ الطَّعَامِ وَتَقْرَأُ السَّلَامَ عَلَى مَنْ عَرَفْتَ وَمَنْ لَمْ تَعْرِفْ. That you feed one another food and you greet with the salam on those who you know and those who you don't know. In the hadith of Abi Hurairah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you will not enter Jannah until you believe. And all of our goal is to enter Jannah in the Akhirah. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is not possible until we believe. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَحَابُوا. And we cannot believe, you will not believe. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling his companions, you will not believe until you love one another. This is the goal that we opened the khutbah with. How can we have this love and protection to one another? And so he asked the Sahaba a question. أَفَلَا أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ إِذَا فَعَلْتُمُوهُ تَحَابَبْتُمْ. Should I not show you something that if you do it, you will love one another? He said, أَفْشُوا السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Spread the salam, the greeting of peace between you. So this highlights the importance of this greeting. Some of the mistakes that we have in our understanding of this greeting is that we don't start with it, or we shy away from it. And this practical tool that's in our toolbox in our deen applies to everybody. It applies to old, young, children at school, people at work, people visiting each other in the homes, waking up in the morning and having just your family there. Salam, salam, salam. All of these situations and settings, the salam is a tool in our toolbox to increase love, to increase respect, to humble ourselves, as we'll see as well. And many people make the mistake of starting with a different greeting. They say Hayakallah in Arabic, or they say what's up, or anything else, and then maybe they follow with the salam, or they forget the salam completely. One of the earlier scholars, he was greeted, he said, لقيني ميمون بن مهران رحمه الله فقلت حياك الله. So one of the people he met, Maymun bin Mihran rahimahullah, and he started with this greeting, حياك الله. And in it you could put in any good greeting. And حياك الله is actually a dua. It's better than what many of us would say or come on our tongues. So Maymun replied to him, هذا تحية الشباب عليك بالبدء بالسلام. This is a greeting of the youngsters who may not know any better. So this is a reflection for us. If we don't know any better, maybe we would start with something else. And he said, it's upon you to start with the salam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَنْ لَمْ يَبْدَأْ بِالسَّلَامِ مَنْ لَمْ يَبْدَأُكُمْ بِالسَّلَامِ فَلَا تَجِيبُوا. Whoever does not start to you with the salam, whatever gathering or discussion, do not reply to him. So we must start our interactions with the salam. And this is from the حق المسلم على المسلم. In the long hadith, حق المسلم على المسلم ست إذا لقيت منها إذا لقيته فسلم عليه. That Muslims have rights upon one another. Meaning on the day of judgment, we can have our deeds taken away or the other person's bad deeds added to our wisdom. If we do not fulfill this right. This is a right that has to be fulfilled within one another from among them. If you meet, then give the greeting. And in another narration, the return of the greeting. So both things are a right of our fellow believers on one another. So with this, I hope that we can see, this is a reminder for myself and everybody here about the importance of salam, and starting with the salam and using it as a greeting to increase our love for one another and have more mercy upon one another, and to increase the cohesion in our community. هذا والله أعلم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. I would like to also remind myself and everybody here about certain aspects of the salam that we may forget from an issue of the practicalities, how to perform the salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was once sitting in the masjid, and a group of people, a person came to him and he said, Assalamu alaikum. So he replied and then he sat down. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 10. Another man came and said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And so he replied to him, and the man sat down and he said, 20. Another person came and said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So and then he returned the greeting and the man sat down. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 30. And this is a hadith hasan. The point being that we should be competing in trying to increase our blessings and our ajr. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying the one who starts with only Assalamu alaikum is getting 10 reward. The one who says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah is getting 20 reward. And the one who says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, he is getting 30 rewards. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said, Inna awla nasi billahi man bada'ahum bis salam. The one with the highest status with Allah is the one who starts with the salam. And this is a competition. We know in the days of the Sahaba, anything that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said would elevate a group over another, the Sahaba would compete with each other in that. So this is something that can be a competition between the believers who will begin with the salam to one another. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said, يُجْزِيُ عَنِ الْجَمَاعِ يُسَلِّمُ أَحَدُهُمْ وَيُجْزِيُ عَنِ الْجُلُوسِ أَنْ يَوُدَّ أَحَدُهُمْ. From amongst the fifth, the understanding of the salam is if that two groups come together, one person can say the salam on behalf of the group and one person can reply to the salam on behalf of the group that's receiving the first group. Although, in order to increase in our reward, it is hasan, it is good. It is rewardable that everybody says the salam or repeats the salam. And one other hadith I want to bring forth, which kind of really shows us the impact of the salam. عن حديث أنس رضي الله عنه مر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على صبيان يلعبون فسلم عليهم. That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once passed by a group of young children playing, and he would say the salam, and he said the salam upon them. And the narrators of this hadith, they continued to follow this practice and emphasize to the subsequent narrator that they were making a habit of following this practice when they would narrate the hadith. Meaning, the narrator would say, and Anas radiallahu anh, one time he passed upon a group of children playing and he said salam, etc. etc. So there's a chain of action with the chain of the hadith as well. And this goes to show the humility. Even though in another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the one who should start with the salam is the young towards the old, and the passing towards the one sitting. But in this hadith, this shows that even if that doesn't happen, and if they're just young kids, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is practicing ifsha as-salam even amongst the children. And it humbles oneself. You can imagine somebody is busy in their day, and they come to the masjid, they greet the elders, but the children are in the corner having their own conversation. And we don't think that it's important for us to say salam and to start this conversation with the greeting of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even with people that we know or don't know, or young or old, even if they're children. This really will build the cohesion in our community. And another important and final point that I'll bring, the salam is for the beginning and for the end of a gathering. في حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا انتهى أحدكم إلى المجلس فليسلم فإذا أراد أن يقوم فليسلم فليست الأولى بأحق من الآخرة. حديث حسن. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when one of you finish with the majlis, then convey the salam, have the greeting of salam. And when you seek to get up, then say the salam. Because the first is not any more deserving than the last. So this is a practice not just for when we first meet each other, but also when we depart. We come with the salam and we leave with the salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the salam from amongst our heavy deeds on the Day of Judgment. And make it a means for us to be protectors from one another. And make it a means for us to alleviate the suffering of the Muslims and to establish iman in our hearts. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم فرج عن إخواننا في غزة وفي كل مكان المستضعفين المؤمنين يا رب العالمين. عباد الله إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأكبر الصلاة.